The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle, talking about public speaking, declared, "Oratory is the art of persuasion." So what is being said here is if we are into public speaking and we want to give a persuasive speech, we need to remember that it is the art of persuasion. And how is that art carried out? And does it work? Do we really persuade? Is the decision with us as far as the listener is concerned? Does how we deliver the speech make all the difference as to whether or not they will decide? It is, of course, but the decision always rests with the listener. Here's what it says in a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. At the top of page 69 are these words. In the last analysis, as Marilyn Ferguson observed, no one can persuade another to change. No one can persuade another to change. Each of us guards a gate of change that can only be opened from the inside. We cannot open the gate of another, either by argument or by emotional appeal. So that's pretty clear. The decision always lies with the listener. They hear your message, and from that message they decide whether or not to accept it to the point where it is so powerful that they decide to change. So as a persuasive speaker, there are a few points to remember. One is that when you put across an emotionally powerful speech, perhaps filled with stories that bring tears to the eyes of the listener, fill their hearts with love, etc., then you need to strike while the iron is hot. So, almost immediately after the speech is finished. If it's to raise money, for example, for a charity, the collections need to be made straight away. That's why you often see people at these events where money is being raised from a speaker's speech for other people to be running around with buckets to collect the money. It needs to be done. Strike while the iron is hot. Why do I say this? Because after the speech is over, and after the people begin to mingle with their friends and other people outside, the conversations will begin. And that's when the rationalisations will begin. Can I really afford that? No. He was a good speaker, but I enjoyed it. This sort of thing will go on. And the message, the feeling of the heart, which was aroused in the heart to be generous, will gradually fade away. This is why when motivational speakers attend a conference with a lot of employees there to receive this message because management thinks they're going to change, they won't change. Within 2 or 3 days, they've already gone back to their normal habits, forgotten all about what the speaker said. So if you're a persuasive speaker, remember the decision to accept and decide to change always lies with the listener, always lies with that person in the audience. You might give a presentation that they've heard, the type of presentation they've heard 100 times before. And yet they haven't changed. But your presentation might be just that one. Just the right words, the right pictures, the right story that got to them where they make their decision to change, really change. It can be a bit disheartening to think you're giving a persuasive speech to help people have better lives and they don't really want it. They don't really listen. But some of them, at some time, if you give that presentation enough to enough people, changes will be made. People will decide. And your persuasive speech, the story you gave them, the thing that brought tears to their eyes and opened their hearts up, did change them. They made the decision from your words. Persuasive speaking, influence, motivational speaking, certainly there's a place for it. But do not think for one moment that every time you speak to an audience, no matter how powerful your speech is, that you're going to persuade them to change. Some will change at some time. But this isn't to say, do not continue. Put your messages out there. Change the world. It will change. Very slowly. Maybe your words added to later by somebody else's words, added by somebody else by their words, will make the changes. It really is worth the work.